All right, Blake, I'm counting 5 regents. I know we can't gavel until 9, I think. Is that right?
I believe, yes, that's correct. But
All right.
as soon as I know we have people with hard stops, so as soon as we, or in my case, as soon as it becomes 7 o'clock.
That's the great city of Portland.
Great. Things grow here really easily. Lots of flora.
Is it the city of roses? They have a lot of rose bushes. Am I right?
It is the city of roses. Yes.
That's really beautiful.
Got a large Japanese garden as well. Trying to get my hotel light.
I feel like we should have lead-in music to this being back on Zoom and a special. Welcome to this special edition of the Kansas Board of Regents. Cindy, how are you?
I'm very good, Mr. Chair. Nice to see you in person.
Yeah.
In person.
Hey, Tisa.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Like Benson, how's Pittsburgh?
Warm.
Hmm.
Otherwise just fine. Having a good summer. Hope you are as well.
Hey, Diana.
Hello.
All right, I saw Carl on there too.
Yeah, Carl's on.
Is there anybody else?
I'm on. Good morning.
Great. And are you expecting anybody else, Blake? This is the 5 that we're going to have.
I think that's, yeah, John did text me and say he's going to be on. So
all right. That gives us 6.
A lot of people say 6 regents is plenty.
And they'd be right.
John, it's the 1-minute warning.
Got it. All right, and Blake, I'm going to have us just vote on consent, right? We're not needing that. That's why
You don't need to vote. Just encourage people to read the consent. They changed that to an update. So,
okay.
Oh yeah. So we just, yeah.
I need to vote on consent agenda, right? Just to
Correct.
It's been received. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we've got 3 items on discussion. I got
That's
the
correct.
up-to-date one in front of me. Okay, perfect. And we're not going to approve minutes from the last meeting or any of that. We'll save that for September.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, welcome to this special edition of the Kansas Board of Regents on July 18th, 2023. I'm going to call this meeting to order, and a first agenda item is our consent agenda. You should have received the update there, and so if you haven't read it, make sure you read it, but I'd love to entertain a vote to approve the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to? I hear a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. All right, we're unanimous. All right, let's move on to item number 1 on our discussion agenda. Act on a list of industry sought credentials as required by Senate Bill 123 from this last session. Scott Smathers, if you can walk us through this real quick.
Well, good morning, and thanks for meeting today. This morning, we're asking for your approval of the SB 123 credential list, which the State Board of Education approved last week. The list is based on the Excel and CTE qualifying credential list with the addition of the certified medication aid. The board, along with the State Board of Education, is required to approve this list by the 31st of July each year. And as this law was just passed at the end of April, we've been scrambling to meet the criteria, which is why one of the reasons why we asked for this special meeting today, and appreciate you meeting. As mentioned in the issue paper, this list identifies what Excel and CTE credentials the high schools are required to pay for based on student request. And with that, I will stand for questions.
All right, questions for Scott? Oh, yeah, Cindy.
Thank you very much, Scott. Thank you for the information. You and I had a chance to discuss how important it will be to inform students and families of this opportunity. Would you share some of your thinking about how we might assist in doing that?
Sure. I think first and foremost, we need to make sure and get it out on our website, which we'll be doing, and adding it to the website upon board approval. Following that, then it will really be up to really the high schools and the colleges in a lot of ways. Where we get the opportunity, we'll be bringing it forward, but really it's going to be kind of on an individual basis for the most part for how people are going to hear about it. I do believe that as word gets out, it will spread rapidly, and if things hold true to form. So I think that will help us as far as getting the word out.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. This may be an item we want to talk about with the state board in our joint discussions about how to support so that students are informed across the whole state and not just pockets. So, thank you.
Great idea, Regional Lane. Thank you. Any other questions for Scott? All right, do I have a motion to approve this list? You guys received it in your packet?
I would so move, Mr. Chair.
All right, we got a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second this, Lane.
All right, thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, 6-0 again. Thank you very much, Scott. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, Elaine, the distribution of state appropriations of operating expenses on the IT infrastructure and cybersecurity.
Good
Take it away.
morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next item on your agenda for your action today is to approve an allocation of federal ARPA dollars to our state universities. This year, the legislature, rather than give us any state general fund dollars for the state universities and for Washburn, they gave us some ARPA funds. And so we need you to approve the allocation of the funds now that we have been advised by the budget director that they are available for this use. We have an allocation table there on the second page of this item, of this agenda item. The $450,000 for Washburn was specifically designated in the legislation, but the amount for the state universities was not. We just have the $5 million figure set for us. We simply applied the same percentages as were applied last year. We actually took 2 steps last year in allocating the $20 million in state funds that were given to us as a system. And so we simply replicated that methodology. So we have had some discussions among RITSI, and the recommendation generally is to apply this $5 million toward adjusting for and making improvements for bolstering against the things that are being found in last year's system-wide project, which was to do some penetration testings of our systems. And so that's going to reveal some things we need to fix. And so this $5 million can go partway toward that effort.
What questions do you guys have for Elaine? You got to see the breakdown. And you guys remember, I think KU Med had been left out last time. We got them worked back in. So I was glad to see that continue. Any questions for Elaine? All right. Hearing no questions, I'll take a motion to approve.
So moved.
All right. Motion's made. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Oh, I heard Regent Harrison Lee in there. She's made it. We'll give her that. So thank you, Regent Harrison Lee. Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, 7-0. Thank you very much, Elaine. Daniel, if you can come on and talk about the proposed pilot initiative of the Kansas Free Application Days, November 7th through the 9th. Daniel Archer, take it away.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. And I'm going to ask Mr. Steve Funk here is going to assist me here and run the PowerPoint for me here. So I've just got a really brief PowerPoint. And as we kind of dive into this issue, I think it's really critical that we start out by looking at our public college going rate. Steve, you go ahead and click on the next slide, please, and have the click on it again. And the 2014 graph will come up. You can click it one more time. Great. Perfect. So we look at the public college going rate. Really important to note that we're talking about students who have graduated from a Kansas high school and those students who graduate again from a Kansas high school and enroll at one of our public college universities within 1 year after graduation. So when you look at this, 55.2% of individuals who graduated from a Kansas high school enrolled at one of our college universities within a 1 year period after graduation. So again, that's 2014. And if you go ahead and click it again, please, Steve, you'll see 2021, we dropped well below 50%. So we went down 11.5 percentage points there, going to 43.7%. So we've had a pretty significant drop off there just in that 7-year period. And that's our most recent data set. If you go ahead and click on the next slide, please. And if you can click on to where the 2014, perfect. So I think it's also really critical to look at this by race ethnicity here. When we look at this here, again, we're looking at the college going rate by race ethnicity, and you'll see that 6 out of 7 of the categories here had a public college going rate of 50% or higher. So 6 out of 7, again, were at 50% or higher. And go ahead and click it again, please. And then we're going to compare this to the 2021 data, and you'll see that only 1 out of 7 of the categories here was above 50%, that Asian American category. The other 6 were below 50%. So we went from having 6 out of 7 above 50% or 50% or above to only 1 out of 7 at 50% or above. And I think most notably here, you'll notice off to the right there, looking at the Hispanic and the Black population there, those populations exhibited decreases of nearly 20 percentage points. And when we look at the Hispanic population specifically, and we kind of zone in on that, that's a population that increased by 99% from 2000 to 2020. It's the only population that we have that's growing. And as it continues to grow, the segment of the population that we serve in higher education continues to go down. So I think that's certainly concerning. I think these numbers on the whole are concerning here. And so I think one of the things that President Flanders is continually asking us are, what are things that we can do as a system? Again, what are things that we can do as a system to reverse these trends? I think more importantly, what are some things that we can do right now to remove barriers and kind of better position ourselves to have a more robust high school to college pipeline here? And so in doing some research, we've identified a new strategy that's commonly referred to as free application days. This is where you set aside a specific number of days where there is no undergraduate application fee. And Steve, if you'll go ahead and change the slide for me again, please. Thank you. So we are essentially proposing that November 7th through the 9th be our free application days here. And just to really clarify, on these days, Kansas residents will be able to submit a general undergraduate admission application at no costs. And also really critical, I think, to emphasize that we're going to look at the total number of applicants as well as the total number of applicants by race ethnicity. So we're certainly going to be committed to collecting data and analyzing data. And there'll be a subsequent report where we actually look at how many of these students went on to enroll. And so that concludes my presentation. I stand for any questions you may have.
All right. And then you got some good charts and other stuff in the pre-read on that. And sounds like all the universities are on board with this, right, Daniel, as far as the process went?
Yeah, they agreed. I mean, obviously there were some discussions here, and they ultimately agreed that November 7th through the 9th would be the best day for the students in terms of using October as an opportunity to promote and educate and then kind of build on that. And then it would culminate with the days in November.
Yeah. And to be clear, this is a pilot 1-year program, right?
Well, I think we would go beyond 1 year because we need to have probably 3 or 4 years to really have good data.
Okay. Is that defined?
Yeah, it is. This is proposed as a pilot program. That's correct.
But do we have a time frame on the pilot program, or do we need to put one on it?
We did not specify a timeline here, but I would say at least 3 years.
Okay, I saw us that we were reviewing it after one to make changes. Regent Lane, did I see you raise your hand?
Yes, thank you very much. So Bascus talked about this, and we really want to examine the yield data in October of 24, then to bring further discussion back to the full board about whether or not this is a fee that creates barriers or what we might do to minimize the impact of trying to recruit more individuals into our universities. The other thing that might be helpful, Dr. Archer, is for everybody to be aware of the change of the FAFSA window, one-time temporary change. I don't know that you mentioned that, and why this was chosen as a November date versus the October for this pilot.
Right. And so this will probably be kind of a temporary thing. I think if we do this in 2024, there'll be a different FAFSA deadline, and so we'll have to do this in October, because that FAFSA deadline, I believe, is going to be November 1.
Okay.
Effective 2024.
So just to be clear what we're voting on, I know we need to vote on the pilot program, but it feels like we need little parameters around this. Are we voting on 1 year? Are we voting on 3 years with the ability after 1 year to kill it if we want? What step do we want to take on this? Regional Lane, I saw you unmute.
I would invite some of the other BAS colleagues in, but I think it was at least my thought that we were approving 1 year with the examination of data points in January and in October, and then for further discussion. So I see Blake and Diana nodding heads.
Yeah. Okay. That's Dr. Archer, you got an issue with that? That's what we'll.
No, that's fine. No, that's totally fine.
All right. So that's clear. Any other discussion or questions on this?
Just a clarification, since it's been a long time since I've had kids, what are kind of the fees at the different universities?
Sure. And so they vary. It's I think it's 25 on the lower end and then 40 on the higher end.
Yep. And then they have the totals in the pre-read too, what kind of comes in a year on that and what they support with it. But yeah. Additional question, Regent Dykes? No. Okay. Any other questions or comments? All right. Hearing none. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Mr. Chair, I move approval.
All right. Regent Harrison Lee coming in with the motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second. This is Lane.
All right. Regent Lane with the second. Thank you very much. All right. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, unanimous again. Thank you very much. Dr. Archer, appreciate that. Any other business to come before the board today? Hearing none, I'm going to call this meeting adjourned. Pop. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Stay cool.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.